What's up guys, and welcome to the special BattleBit Remastered video where I'm going to be showcasing my infantry destroyer meta build. I've been having a blast with this build and I hope you guys can as well. This build works for the meta class and the engineer class, but one of them is definitely a lot more fun. So without further delay, let me show you my LASERBEAM build. So in order to make this class shine like it does for me, you would need to at least be rank 45, and I say this because at this level you unlock access to the PP19. This gun is awesome. This is the gun that we're going to be turning into a LASERBEAM. It's a submachine gun that can be used by the meta class and the engineer class. It can't be used by any other class besides those two, which have access to the SMG guns. This gun is a LASERBEAM with barely any recoil. Even naked, you're literally sitting at a vertical recoil of only 0.90 and a horizontal recoil of 0.70. With just a little pull down, you're literally shooting straight no matter what. The only thing about this gun is that its damage sits at 25. So yeah, that's not that high, but there's many pros that make up for its lesser than ideal damage. If you look at the other stats in the gun besides the barely any recoil and lower than average damage, is the fire rate is 750, the aim down time is only 0.20, your running speed is pretty quick, sitting at 1.05, the default reload time is only 3.10 seconds, but the best of them all is your control, which is maxed out by default at 1.0. This is extremely important, much more so with snipers, DMRs, and LMGs. Basically anything that is using a sight that is super zoomed in, because the control stat is your weapon sway and how responsive your mouse movement is to your weapon. So the higher it is, the more control you have over your weapon. So as you can see right here, even with a naked PP19, this thing is fast and has barely any recoil. The accuracy is absolutely amazing. But now what can we do with this PP19 to make it even better? So let's say you're rank 45 and you started using the PP19 and started leveling it. Once you are able to, you're gonna start having access to all of the fun attachments. For the PP19 build, for the main sight, there are three that I do favor, but one of them is by far my favorite. All of these sights are short range sights, as medium range sights really don't make any sense with a submachine gun since this is meant to be utilized close range, but nothing is impossible, they say. So if you manage to fire off and beam people from a mile away with a medium range sight with 9x19 rounds, good for you. Medium range sights on the PP19 will just give you negatives anyways, like more first shot kick, less control, aim down time, make your person run slower, and make your draw speed slower. So I just don't see the benefit here. Now for the sights, the aim comp. This is a good red dot and you can unlock it fairly easy and fairly early on. It has a nice circle and it just looks pretty. You have good sight picture, but it doesn't really have much magnification nor a crosshair that you can really paint people with. So my second favorite is the holographic, and that's because it has decent magnification and the circle crosshair helps you with target acquisition and your peripheral vision is enhanced a little bit. But my favorite with this build by far is the strike-fire. This is decent magnification, a smaller size crosshair, but the sight is so enlarged that you can easily see targets around you, and it looks beautiful with this gun. So there's also no drawbacks with sights, and it's basically your personal opinion, besides maybe a little fraction off control, which is unnoticeable really anyways. And if you plan to use a canted sight with this build, you can, but I just don't see the reason. But if you choose to, you're gonna lose a little control and draw speed. I recommend not to, so you can maximize your stats. Now for the second attachment, the underbarrel rail, you're going to want the B25 URK. This lessens your aim down time. Not by much, but by 0.01 seconds. But the biggest advantages are your draw speed and reload time. Your draw speed is 0.10 faster and your reload time is almost 30 seconds faster. The faster you can reload and draw your gun is only going to increase your survivability by a lot, either letting you get your shots off first or faster than the enemy, or being able to re-engage in the fight faster than your enemy. Now, for the barrel attachment, I am using the long barrel, and there is a few reasons why. The damage, it increases your default damage from 25 to 26.25, and that little 1.25 points can be a big difference in finishing off your enemy and winning a firefight. I was torn between the long barrel or the tactical barrel first because of the 0.27 loss in vertical recoil and the 0.02 loss in running speed, but when I really thought about it, even a 0.27 loss in vertical recoil won't really make too much of a difference with how controlled and low of recoil this gun has by default anyways, and the gain of plus 40 in velocity and plus 11.9 gain in accuracy is huge compared to the small losses of running speed and recoil. Plus, when comparing these, I didn't even notice at the end, I saw that you do get an increase of 1.25 in damage over the default 25. So yes, your damage will now be 26.25, which is awesome because the more damage you can output, obviously the faster you're going to neutralize the target. You have better survivability for sure. And also the huge gain in velocity will help your bullets hit your target faster and travel at a faster speed. And the large increase in accuracy is just going to help you with your shots being tighter to your point of sight and lessen the spread of your shots. So yes, the long barrel is the way to go. Now for side rail, you can put a side rail on your weapon if you would like, but it isn't the smartest move unless you really need it. But unless you really need it, don't really use it. It will lessen your draw speed and your control. Control not so much, but your draw speed definitely will have an impact and can be the difference between life or death in a close encounter. Now for the mag, you can't increase how many rounds you have, but you can make reloading insanely fast. The quick mag, this is what you want to use. It's a no-brainer. It's going to tack on an additional 0.02 vertical recoil, which is still nothing. Even with everything else added, it will decrease your horizontal recoil by 0.26, which is very big, and it's going to lessen your reload time by a huge 0.73 seconds. That's almost 3/4 of a second, making you being able to reload this laser beam in 2.09 seconds. And 2 seconds, you have a full mag ready to be sprayed. Now for the biggest one of them all, your camouflage. You're definitely gonna want to go with this tan one, and the reason being is because it looks very, very nice. And no, it does not benefit you in any way. So yeah, this build absolutely shreds your targets, but we're not done yet. We still have more to go. First, let's go over our default specs compared to our new and improved PP19 build. So we now have plus 1.25 damage at 26.25 compared to 25. Our vertical recoil is at 1.05 compared to 0.90. So yes, we do have only 0.15 more vertical recoil, so it's really not much at all. Our horizontal recoil is 0.38 compared to 0.70, which is 0.32 less horizontal recoil, which is huge. Our first shot kick is increased by only 0.01, which is really not much, but fair. Our velocity is increased by 0.40. Our accuracy is now 82 instead of 72.25, which is the default. Fire rate is still the same, sitting at 750. Our sound spread is the same at 600. Our muzzle flash scale is at 0.36, which is 0.07 higher than the default. Our control is only 0.05 lower from the max of 1.0. Our aim down time is still fast at 0.20, the same as the default. Our running speed is 0.05 less, which is going to be sitting at 1.0 instead of the default. So we're going to be a little bit slower, but it's really not going to matter because now you're going to have a gun that's absolutely going to destroy. Our reload time is a little over a full second faster, sitting at 2.09 instead of 3.10. And our draw speed is 0.10 faster, sitting at 1.10 rather than 1.0. Now that we have our build and comparison out of the way, there are two ways you can play this guy, as a medic or as an engineer. Long story short, if you utilize this with a medic class, you can and will increase your survivability by a lot because you're just going to be able to heal yourself faster when you take damage. You're going to be able to revive and heal your buddies. But if you play this class as an engineer, not only can you repair vehicles and all that fun stuff, but you're going to be able to cause insane amounts of chaos and get insane amounts of kills. The kills won't just come to you, but using this coupled with a special secondary will make you an infantry destroyer. But this LASERBEAM PP9 build, coupled with your secondary gadget, the RPG-7, can and will destroy everybody. People are going to rage at you, they're going to call you names, they're going to hunt you down, and even try to find you IRL. This engineer class build is disgusting, to say the least. You got your PP19 LASERBEAM to beam down targets, and your RPG to counter people who are in windows, groups of enemies, and or vehicles. And honestly, it is so fun to just shoot at somebody and blow them the fuck up. Now, before I get into some gameplay with the PP19, let's go over what I use for my class character equipment. For the medic, I use the normal helmet and take the durability over the other helmets that give me aiming speed because I would rather have better survivability than a little more fasting aiming speed, since with our LASERBEAM build, the aiming speed is pretty quick already. For the medic armor, I use normal instead of light because I do have more durability, plus I have an extra throwable and 2 extra primary magazines. The light armor will make me a little faster and have a little more aiming speed, but it's not worth losing 2 extra mags and a throwable. For the medic backpack, I use normal, so I don't have to sacrifice a primary gadget, and so I don't lose too much aiming speed and running speed. And all the other character traits, I just pick at random, depending on how I want to look. Now for the engineer class, for the helmet, I use the engineer normal helmet for the durability and sacrifice a little aim down speed. But since the headshot multiplier in this game is already high and the time to kill from getting shot in the head is quick, it might be wise to not really care so much about the durability on your helmet and just go for the extra aim down time. For the chest armor, I use heavy, reasons being I gain a lot of extra durability, an extra primary magazine, and an extra throwable. I'm going to sacrifice a negative 2.5% in running and aiming speed just to have extra equipment that I can use to destroy whoever it may be. The extra survivability with the durability in the armor is very nice as well. Now for the backpack, you can either use the normal or the heavy. For me, I usually rock the heavy, even though it does take a larger percentage of running and aiming speed away from me, but I do gain a lot more secondary gadget, which is very important for me because my secondary is my RPG. So if I don't use equipment that benefits me in getting extra ammo from RPG, I'm going to be losing out on multiple opportunities to take out the enemy players. If I'm not rocking the RPG, I'll probably change the backpack and most likely my chest armor to a lighter and more agile build. Alright, so that's it for the build, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this build, and if you end up trying this build, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button as it does help me out a lot, and enjoy the rest of the video.